This 3 hours long Databricks Lakeflow Jobs masterclass will help you become an advanced Databricks data engineer. But how? Because Databricks has recently added this orchestration framework within Databricks, and it is very much in demand in 2025. And the demand will continue to grow in 2026 because it will eliminate the dependency on the third-party orchestration tools. And you know the best part of this video? Everything is covered from scratch. You do not need any kind of experience with any orchestration tool. We will start this video with the fundamentals and will slowly add more and more challenges along with the real world scenarios. This is the one-stop solution to master this orchestration framework within Databricks, and this is the best time to master it. Are you ready for it? And if yes, let's get started with this amazing video. And before that, just show your support on this channel, and you can just show your support in the comment section. And let's get started with this amazing video. Oh, what's up, my data fam? Happy Sunday again. Another Sunday, another masterpiece. And trust me, this video is a masterpiece because this video is coming directly from the future. So let me be very honest with you. So basically, as you can see the title of the video, and now you are also seeing the homepage of the video, Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. First of all, bro, if you haven't heard this word, don't worry, because Databricks is actually making so many changes in their naming convention. Not just naming convention, it is like a very small change, right? Naming convention, but these changes are very big changes. Lakeflow jobs, Lakeflow pipelines, Lakeflow designer, so many things. So they are actually making Lakebase as well. Like there are so many major changes which are being done by Databricks, and I would say especially in after the mid of 2025, they are like actually revolutionizing the data engineering world. So obviously, I just released another video. It's called Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. So what this video will cover and why this video and what are like Lakeflow jobs? We haven't even heard the word. I would say most of you haven't heard this word. I'm so sure. But don't worry, because even if you haven't heard this word, by the end of this video, you will become a master of this particular thing, which is called Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. Really? Yes. Trust me. Just trust me. Just trust this cute guy. Just trust this guy. That's it. Not a cute guy. So the thing is, you will say, Ansh Lamba, there's a video called Databricks Declarative Pipelines. Is this same? The answer is no. No. This is totally different. Totally. Not even 1% same. Do not feel like there would be just naming convention change and all. No, it is completely different. So in this particular video, we're going to talk about Databricks Lakeflow jobs in detail. Let me be very quick for this particular point. What are the prerequisites for this video? If you have worked with Databricks in the past, any version of Databricks, any version, this video is for you. If you are already using Databricks, like in your day-to-day activities, if you already are on any project, and if you just want to upskill yourself, because the world is really competitive right now, so this video is for you. Let's say you haven't used Databricks in the past, but you know a little bit of it. Let's say you know what is a notebook, you know what is SQL, right? Very basic stuff. I'm not even talking about PySpark. You do not need PySpark for this video. So just basic. If you have worked with Jupyter notebooks, and if you know like, let's say what is SQL and how you can just create SQL queries and all, this video is for you. Yes, this video is for you. I would say if you have some understanding of ETL pipeline, it will be beneficial, but it's not recommended. Like, oh, sorry, not recommended. Like it is recommended, but it is not mandatory. Okay. Like it is not, you can say, a prerequisite. It is like good to have. Okay. Sorted. Very good. Now let's start with this video and just take out your notebook, because you want to learn each and everything. And the best part, we're going to cover everything from scratch. From scratch means from zero. I will literally tell you what is a Lakeflow job in very few seconds, in the next few seconds. And from there, you're going to build complex, dynamic Databricks Lakeflow jobs. And you know me, that the depth you will gain in this topic in this video, you know this. But before that, I have a target for you. that you need to complete first of all for me. And it is like, you can say, a demand. Simple. So just kidding. So the target of this particular video, the number of likes is 2000, and I know you can just quickly do that, and the number of comments should be, let's say, 1000. So quickly complete that target for me. Okay, and I want to complete that. That is, you can say, a kind of task that you need to complete, and the task which will make you a professional Databricks Lakeflow Jobs, okay, is on me. Okay, and I will complete that for sure. And now it's your responsibility to complete the target. 1000 comments, just complete it anyhow. Okay, and 2000 likes, just complete it anyhow. Anyhow. Simple. So let's get started with this video. And before that, before this, I just wanted to show you, we are just covering what are jobs, but just quickly, I want to just congratulate some people who have recently cracked interviews and cracked job offers from multiple MNCs and all. So I have just added a few more names in this particular collage, and these are like the latest comments. I didn't cover the DMs and all, so this is like the snippet that I have currently. So congratulations, and I'm waiting for your comment, your DM as well, that you will also crack and you will also land your dream role this year. And do you know what? Most of the people actually commented on these videos, all these people, like they will crack the interviews. So what are you waiting for? You also need to just comment right now, and let's see how early, or you can say how soon you will just crack the interview. Okay, so let's jump on our main topic. First of all, Ansh Lamba, before talking about what are Databricks Lakeflow jobs, we need to understand what are jobs. Then we can just understand jobs from the Databricks point of view. Simple. So we are just covering everything from scratch. So let's cover this as well. So basically, what are jobs and how they are different from pipelines? This should be your question, because this is the point of confusion that I also had back in time, and I was like totally lost. I was like, what is a pipeline? Okay, this is a pipeline. I'm not just talking about Databricks. Okay, it is not like everywhere else as well. Okay, in some applications yes, in other applications no. So in Databricks especially, you will be lost. Like, hey, we just learned pipelines. Now what are jobs? So basically, let me just tell you what are jobs. So jobs, in short, are the tools, or basically the way to orchestrate your work. It is for orchestration. Make sense? This is just for the orchestration. Okay, now what kind of orchestration? If you do not even know what is orchestration is the word that actually you can say pulled from the music industry, where we orchestrate the nodes, the music nodes, and all those things. I'm not an expert in the music world, but this word actually came from that word, orchestration. You need to orchestrate the flow. In the music industry, they just orchestrate, you can say, the words, whatever they orchestrate. Like, you would have also seen like guy doing these with sticks in the cartoon as well, right? So that is called orchestration, where you need to orchestrate everything, where you need to say, hey, you are the singer, you need to sing this. Hey, you are guitarist, you need to play guitar at that time. Hey, you are doing whatever, you need to do that, piano or whatever. Okay, so that is the orchestration of all the things. Jobs are actually doing the same stuff. That is why we have picked this cute name, orchestration. Yes, simple. You need to orchestrate everything. What comes under everything? Let's say you developed your code, okay, and obviously if you are using Databricks, you will be writing code in your notebooks. Okay, perfect. You have created so many notebooks, let's say so many SQL queries as well, so many things. Now you need to orchestrate it. You need to create a flow which will start from point A and will go to point B. And all the activities, all the things that will happen between point A and point B is actually your orchestration. Oh, okay. Other very good name can be DAG, Directed Acyclic Graph. Bro, I'm just writing all these things for you so that you can understand. Plus, you need to take notes as well, okay? Because it's very easy for me to just open the documentation or whatever online resource and just read the definition. I'm writing it for you so that you can also write in a notebook, okay? So just take notes. Take notes. Directed acyclic graph. Perfect. Very good. So what is this directed acyclic graph? What is this? You can say this is another fancy name for orchestration, because obviously both are different words. I'm not denying that. But you can say to some extent, or I would say if you are a mature data engineer, you will hardly find a difference between orchestration and DAG. I would say, this is my personal opinion, DAG is like more technical name for orchestration. Make sense? Because directed acyclic graph means you will build a graph which will direct other things as well. Let's say I'm just building a simple graph. Okay. Let's say this is a graph. So if you have learned graph in your programming language, if you are a software engineer, you can just understand better than anyone else, because they just talk about so many things about graph, nodes and all those things. So basically, by the way, I'm not a software engineer, so but I hope you are, or even if you are not, it's fine. So let's say you have a graph. So let's say this is like something called as node 1. This is node 2. What is a node? Point. Simple point. Okay. Point A. Point B. Happy? No node. No node. Simple? Okay. Let's say point C. You want to go from point A to point B and point B to point C. This is your complete DAG. DAG means directed acyclic graph. You are directing B that, hey, you need to run if A is completed. Like all those things, if or if else, we have so many things to configure, but just for the understanding. So C will only run once B is completed, or let's say whatever. So there is a graph which is not cyclic. It is called acyclic. It is not saying, hey, once C is running, just run A again. Make sense? Okay. So in orchestration, this is my personal opinion again. In orchestration, you can actually make cyclic workflows. Bro, see, let's say this is a singer, okay? This is a guitarist, okay? And let's say this is playing piano, or basically second singer who is just singing the last verse of the song, okay? I am the orchestrator. I can simply say, hey, now you need to go to A again. I can say that, okay, because I am the orchestrator. What I personally feel, instead of using orchestration word, okay, in the data engineering world, by the way, word is accurate, obviously accurate, but DAG is like more accurate word, because we are saying, hey, this is a directed, obviously, because we need to say where you want to go, then it is acyclic. It will never come back to point A. And in the data engineering industry, in the whole industry, you will hardly or rarely find one pipeline which will again go to the point A, or basically the starting point. That means cyclic graph. In some cases, it can be. Obviously, it is also called infinite loop, because it will be keep on running and running and running. But let's say there's an organization, because exceptions are always there, right? So let's say there's an organization who have built this pipeline, let's say, but in most of the cases, you will hardly find this scenario, right? Let's say you want to again run A. Yes, if you are just scheduling this pipeline, basically this DAG, you can say, hey, run this DAG at 5 p.m. then 6 p.m. Okay, so here you are not slow claps. Very good. Let me just recreate it. Yeah, so we were here. Not a big deal. So it happens. So basically we were saying that, hey, even if we are scheduling this pipeline, let's say I'm saying I want to run this pipeline at 5 p.m. and again at 6 p.m. That doesn't mean that I want to, hey, reach to point A to point B to point C, and then at 6 p.m. I want to go from C to A. No. It will simply start the another, you can say a new instance of this particular DAG from A. So what I personally feel in the data engineering industry, we should say directed, or you can say acyclic orchestration, like this orchestration, because orchestration can be cyclic as well, but DAG are acyclic. That is why orchestration is like the bigger word, but usually, and In the industry, we should only use DAG. But yeah, because it is very understood in the data engineering world, because orchestration will not create the cyclic pipeline. So we use orchestration word because it is very fancy word and it is being adapted very easily and people are using it. So you can also use it, but you need to understand the, you can say, behind the scene work, like why do we use this word orchestration? Make sense? Very good. So this was, like, you can say, a quick overview of what are jobs. Now in case of Databricks, what do we mean by Databricks jobs? So basically, when we talk about Databricks jobs, so Databricks jobs means you want to create workflows. That is the technical word for it. Okay, it is called workflows. Okay, makes sense. So we need to create workflows. So Ansh, Lamba, what is the difference between like pipelines and jobs? Because in Databricks, we have pipelines as well, and then we have jobs as well. Basically, jobs or workflows, those two are same, but pipelines are something different. So in pipelines, and we are talking about only Databricks, okay? Because other than Databricks, pipelines are like not like just other in other applications. Like apart from, you can say, or you can say in some applications, pipelines are equivalent to jobs, but in some applications it is different. So you need to understand the difference between two. So pipelines in Databricks will actually process your data. I want to use pink color. It will process your data. Okay. And with some DAG. DAG can be there as well. Yes. But it will also process your data. Oh, so this is a kind, and bro, listen to me carefully. This is a very important, you can say, base of the whole video, because you will be confused otherwise throughout the video, like what is going on, why we are creating this. So just listen to me, bro. So this is pipeline. Now I know your question that you have in your mind. You will say, Ansh, Lamba, if we can process the data along with DAG, so why we are not only using pipelines? Why we are just creating a new concept called jobs? That can be a very good question. Okay, let's say I created the pipeline, this one, for bronze layer. Okay, similar pipeline I created for let's say silver layer. Okay, a similar pipeline, or basically totally different pipeline, whatever you want to do. Let's say a new pipeline I created for gold layer as well. Okay, makes sense. Okay, makes sense. Now this is a different pipeline. Okay, this is a different pipeline. Okay, this is a different pipeline. Okay, very good. Now you will understand everything. So let's say I want to run the silver pipeline after bronze, the whole pipeline itself, and then gold after silver. So here what actually happened, we can even orchestrate the pipelines as well within jobs. Okay. So ideally, you can say pipelines are your mini jobs. Okay. Mini jobs. Let's say one pipeline is dedicatedly building something for only one item, or basically for one purpose, or basically for anything, like let's say just one thing. Okay. Then you have a different pipeline. Then you have another pipeline. Then you have so many things, right? You can orchestrate all those things using workflow jobs, or basically Databricks jobs or Databricks workflows. This is the difference. You need to understand this. You can even orchestrate the pipelines within jobs. Make sense? Can we only orchestrate the pipelines? No. We can orchestrate almost anything, because here we have with some DAG, not like all the liberty, but here we have all the liberty. Liberty as in, you can even use, let's say, conditionals. You can use conditional. What kind of conditionals? Let's say if else condition, if you want to say, hey, if this happens, run this. If this happens, run that, or blah, blah, blah. Conditionals. Then you can also use control flow. Okay. Where you can say, I want to run a loop. Okay. Then you can run individual activities as well. We will talk about that in detail, don't worry. But this is like complete overview of it. Like what are Databricks jobs, how they are different from Databricks pipelines. Make sense? Simple? Very good. I hope this was helpful. And if yes, just do let me know in the comment section right now. Okay. Okay, sir. So now what do we have next? Question can be, why Databricks Jobs and Ansh Lamba? We know that almost like not all, but yeah, many companies are using Databricks already. If this is a new concept, yes, this is a new concept. How they are using Databricks for orchestration? That is the first question. Second thing is, if they are using those Databricks jobs, or basically, let's say, even if they are not using Databricks jobs, what they are using other than Databricks jobs to orchestrate all those things? Because companies are using Databricks and this is a new concept. So this is not being adapted by all the companies. So how things are going right now and why do we need this? Quick question and multiple questions. Don't worry, I will answer all the questions. So basically the thing is, yes, currently we are using Databricks. That's for sure. But how? We use it in most of the organizations with Azure Data Factory, which is very popular. You can say very popular orchestration tool available in the cloud industry. And it is very much compatible with Databricks. Azure Data Factory, or you can say Azure Synapse Analytics, because both are same. Okay. I'm just talking about the pipeline point of view. Do not say, hey, in Azure Synapse, we can do this, that. Shh. So, Azure Data Factory is being used with Databricks. Yes, you can also use Apache Airflow and you can use so many other orchestration tools as well. So this is the current picture. Okay. Then why do we need Databricks jobs if everything is running fine? So basically the thing is, whenever, let's say, a tool is in demand and demand is growing rapidly, and I would say very rapidly, they are seeing that companies are relying on Databricks because amazing platform to process big data, amazing platform for, you can say, data engineering, data science, data analytics, everything. So they are saying that, hey, when we can just do almost all the things, why not this as well? Why not jobs as well? Let's create something so that there'll be like least dependency on any other tool. What will be the biggest advantage of it? Because after that, Databricks will be, obviously it is now compatible with the other clouds as well, but Databricks will be equally compatible and efficient with all the other clouds because you will be using orchestration within the Databricks. And obviously, Databricks is being adapted by companies very rapidly and they're just shifting to Databricks. Okay. And you can already see, like, I do not need to talk much about Databricks because you already know what is going on in the industry. They are using Databricks jobs now and they will be using Databricks jobs more and more in the future because this is just recently added. Okay. Do not say like, hey, this was there before as well. No, it was in public preview. It was in testing. No one was actually talking about it, but now it is in production. It is like generally available. Just do the things and just rock it. Okay. So this is like even more important now. So I hope you got the answer. Why do we need Databricks jobs and why Databricks jobs are actually the hottest topics right now? Because totally new concept. Okay. With that technology, which is already in in hype, which is already one of the most talked, you can say, technologies in the world of data engineering, or you can say big data, and even data science as well, because they are just doing amazing things with data science as well. So now you know why it is even more important, because Databricks jobs will not only be used by data engineers. Data engineer who knows Databricks jobs can actually orchestrate the work for data scientists as well, because they are not very much proficient with pipelines and all. Here you contribute in the, you can say, data science picture, or you can say in the AI picture, being a data engineer. Why? Because Databricks jobs will be used there as well. Simple. They need to orchestrate the work. You can just orchestrate the work. So that's how you outstand in the crowd. Databricks is not just about writing PySpark code. No. Databricks is actually adding so many things that you need to master. Make sense? Okay. Makes sense. So far, so good. Very good. Now, let's talk about something very technical. What are tasks? Should we talk about this? Yes, we should. Because after this, we're gonna we will just straight jump on the Databricks portal and we will just see like what are the things. So let's talk about what are tasks. This is like pure technical term that we have in Databricks jobs. Okay, perfect. So what are tasks basically? Let's say I want to create a simple Databricks Lakeflow job. Okay, so what I will do, let's say I want to create a job in which I will be running my notebook. That is the only thing I want to orchestrate, and I want to run that notebook, let's say every day at 8 a.m. Okay, how you can just do that? Very simple. You will create a job like this, and within that job you will create something called as task. You will create what? Task. Let's say its name is task A. You can just provide any name, don't worry, we'll just talk about it in detail. So this is task A. That's it. This is the simplest Databricks jobs that you can say that you can create in Databricks. Simple. Now let's say you have two notebooks, okay, that you want to run at 8 a.m. and notebook B should run after notebook A. Okay, very good. So what you will do, you will create this time two tasks. Okay, one is, let's say, notebook A, okay, and notebook B. Make sense? And you only need to run this after this one. So this is a kind of Databricks job where you have two tasks. Okay, now let me just tell you very, you can say, good example. Let's say you have this time three tasks. Okay, and let's make it a little bit challenging. Not challenging, it's very easy. Let's say you have three notebooks. Okay, notebook A, notebook B, notebook C. Notebook A will run, okay, in the beginning. Okay, perfect. Now after notebook A, you want to run two notebooks, notebook B and notebook C. In that particular scenario, you cannot say, hey, notebook B and notebook C and run like this. Because our requirement is we want to run both the notebooks after notebook A. So how we can just do that? You will be creating two tasks in parallel. These are called parallel tasks. Okay. So I will simply say notebook B, okay, notebook C, and how I will just run this like this in parallel. So what will happen at this time? It will first run notebook A and then it will run notebook B and C together because these are in parallel, these are not in series. So this is the way we create tasks, and there can be like so many tasks, no limit. And these are like very simple examples, like very simple. We're gonna talk about so many complex industry level pipelines that are being built in the industry right now, because this video gonna be very detailed video for Databricks jobs. These are like very basic examples, very basic. Okay, so now I know you are really excited, and now you know like this video is for you, bro. This video is for you. So now, without wasting any time, let's create our Databricks workspace, basically Databricks portal, and it's very easy. And thanks to Databricks for launching Databricks free edition, in which you do not need to create any cloud account, you do not need to do anything, no cloud integration setup, no external location, nothing, no data lake setup, nothing, just Databricks account, and let's get started. Simple. Okay, so let me just take you to the portal and let me just tell you how you can also create the free edition. Okay, let's see. So in order to create your Databricks free edition, first of all, even if you're using Databricks community edition, it is recommended to go with free edition, because in community edition you will not be having access to Databricks jobs. So you have to create Databricks free edition. Another tip, if you have an email account associated with Databricks community edition, I will recommend you to create a new email or basically use a different email account for Databricks free edition, because sometimes it can just take you back to the community edition, and in the community edition we do not have Databricks jobs, so you will be confused, hey, why I am not seeing Databricks jobs. So just a tip, use a different email account. Okay, so just go on Google and just search Databricks free edition or any browser. Okay, click on any link. So this will be your landing page. Sometime this page will not appear. So in that particular scenario, you can, let's say you are seeing this screen. So you can simply click on try Databricks and you will land on this page. Okay, perfect. So do not click on this button. I know you are really in a hurry. Okay, so this is the express setup. This is an express setup, which is also free, but for limited period. This is not like completely free. So in order to create the free edition account, you simply need to click on this looking for Databricks free edition and click on click here. Okay, this will take you to the kind of authentication page where you just need to provide your Gmail account or any Microsoft account, anything, any Outlook account. It is not, you can say, written that you have to use work email or student account. That is the best thing. You can use a normal Gmail account. Okay, once you register that, I will say come back to this page again and click on try Databricks for one more time, and this time you need to click on the second link, which is login, because once you create your account, you need to revisit to, you can say, Databricks portal multiple times. So in that particular scenario, you have to use this button, which is called already have an account and login. Okay, makes sense. Okay, if I click here, now you need to put the same email account that you have just created with, or basically that you have just used to create your Databricks free edition account. Okay, makes sense. Once you do that, you will land on Databricks homepage, which looks like this. Okay, this is your homepage for Databricks. Okay, just a quick note, we are focusing on Databricks Lakeflow Jobs, okay, which is a dedicated, you can say, service provided by Databricks. Yes, we'll be looking at some other services as well, and I will be just covering it along with the video, so no prerequisites are allowed. And obviously in brief, because we are focusing more on Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. Okay, makes sense. So do not say, hey, what is this, what is that, what is this, what is that. That is why I asked you, if you haven't watched my Databricks video before, you can just go on Google and just search, I would say, Databricks Ansh Lamba, and you can watch this video. This video is for, like, let's say, previous version of Databricks. So this is aligned with the current version, not the free version, but yeah, you can say with Unity catalog, which will cover most of the recent things. Okay, and I was also thinking, if you want me to create a dedicated video on Databricks free edition, because these videos for Databricks are either connected with Azure or yeah. So if you want Databricks masterclass using free edition, just do let me know in the comment section and I can just create that if you want. It is not like something different. Obviously, whatever we have in the Azure, it is exactly the same. Yes, we do have like more and more upgrades. That's why I'm just creating more videos for Databricks, something called as pipelines, jobs. So that's fine. Okay, so you simply need to watch this video if you want to learn Databricks. Okay, if you haven't learned, it is not a prerequisite, but it is, I would say, good to have. And when I say good to have, that means it is good to have. Okay, so now let's talk about our jobs and pipelines area. Basically, this is the icon that you can see on the left hand side. Sometimes this icon will not appear. In your case, you can click on plus new and click on job. It is same thing. Okay, sometimes it will not appear due to screen size, screen resolution, and all those things. Earlier, this icon was here in the data engineering tab, but then they moved it to generic pane. Why? Because as I just mentioned, Databricks jobs are not just for data engineers. It is also for data scientists as well. So when you know Databricks jobs, you can actually contribute to multiple projects, to data engineering projects, to data engineering with AI projects. So that is like the best time to master this thing. Okay. Now, in order to keep the exact same UI that I have, okay, in my Databricks portal, click on your account. Okay, if you have the button called previews, because sometime it will be there, sometime they will just remove it. So if it is there, just make sure you have turned on all the previews so that you can just use them. Then you can simply go to settings and go to developer. And then this is my current settings that you can also copy it. I'm scrolling it slowly so that you can just copy it basically. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Make sure experimental features are turned on, because these are very, very important, especially this one, tabs for notebooks and files, because I'll be using that one as well. So make sure these are turned on. Okay, so once it is done, let's get started with our, you can say, jobs and pipelines. So even before talking about jobs and pipelines, let me just click on workspace, and this is my workspace for now, and let's click on create folder. Let's first of all create a folder. Okay, let's say Databricks jobs, and within this let's create another folder, and let's call it as basics. Okay, within this basics, let's create some notebooks. Why? Because obviously if we want to build a job, Databricks job, or basically Databricks Lakeflow job, we should have something to orchestrate, right? We should have something, right? So let's create some demo notebooks. And don't worry, we are not writing complex PySpark code. It's very simple, like not even PySpark code. Let's write simple print statement. So you can click on this button to connect it, and let me just close all these tabs. Okay, and it will be, yeah, it is already on. So let's call this notebook as, let's say, notebook A. By the way, I recorded this section already, but I'm just re-recording it. The reason is the voice was not recorded in that particular section, so I thought like, oh man, let's re-record it. No worries, anything for my data fam. So notebook A, this is my notebook A. We are just building our very first Databricks job, so I just want to keep it very simple, just to make you understand, make you familiar with the UI, because that is the building block for all the things. Okay, so let's say in this notebook I am just simply writing print command. Let's say print Ansh Lamba. Oh, Lamba. Print Ansh Lamba. This is my data code that I want to process. Simple. Let's create another notebook. Click on plus and then notebook. Okay, so let's say notebook B. So we are simply taking the same example that we took in demonstration, like theoretical demonstration, when we were just trying to cover like what are jobs and tasks and all. Okay, so that you can understand. So let's say in this particular notebook I want to say print, hey Ansh bro. Perfect. Hey Ansh bro. Simple. This is my second notebook. Okay, let's create the third notebook as well, and let's simply say notebook C, and in this one I will say hello world. Now hello Ansh my hello Ansh my bro. Okay, and a cute smile. Hello Ansh my bro. Simple. Yep, only bro. Okay, so these are three notebooks that I have. Okay, notebook A, notebook B, notebook C. Let's create the same scenario. I want to run my notebook A, and after notebook A I want to run both the notebooks B and C in parallel. Let's see how we can just create that. It's very simple. I will go to this particular button and click on jobs and pipelines. Okay, so here as you can see, this is the area for it, and we currently do not have anything, so that's why it is empty. Let's create one. Click on job, and this will open this particular UI. It can be a little bit different. If your Lakeflow jobs is turned off, basically it will look like this. Okay, I love this new UI, so I have turned it on, so you can just turn it on as well. Not major changes, okay, in this particular UI, but they are very, very good. Okay, very minimal changes, but I love it. This is like just updated, I think few days back, I think last week, so it is just updated, this particular UI. So now we want to add tasks. Remember, I just told you like what are tasks and why do we just create tasks and what are all those things, right? So here we need to create tasks. Make sense? Okay, is you have like quick buttons, like you can just quickly use this one, but I will recommend you to just go to add another task and manually pick notebook. So this is the canvas that you will see now. Okay, so now we have the option to provide the task name. Now task name can be anything. Let's say I want to provide task name as task A for my notebook A. It can be literally anything. Okay, then type is notebook. Let's say you want to change the task. You want to run a Python script. You want to run a Python wheel, SQL, pipeline. See, I told you that you can run pipelines within jobs. So this is that particular area. Don't worry, we'll just talk about tasks in detail. Let's first of all build a very simple Lakeflow job. But these are the options that we have within the task. See, dbt, run job. Oh, so we can embed another job within one job. Yes, you can even run job within job. That is why this is the advantage of it. You can even orchestrate jobs within jobs, pipelines within job, everything within job. You can even refresh a dashboard, if else condition, for each. Obviously, these are complex things. We will be just talking about this as well. Then you have jar for Java archive. Okay. Then you have Power BI and all those things. Makes sense. So now let's pick source. Source should be workspace because we are not using any Git source. This is our like workspace source. So that is fine. Now we want to define the path. Where is our notebook residing? Click on this and go to, I would say, Databricks jobs, and within this basics, within this notebook. Okay. Perfect. So this is my path. Compute is same. Do I have any parameters? No for now, but in future we will be adding parameters as well. Perfect. Notification. What is this notification? If you hover over this and click here, you will see add email address or webhooks to notify when runs of this task begin, complete, or this task fails. Let's say this task is failed. So you can add the email account by clicking on plus. Okay. I obviously do not want to do that for now. We will be just adding this particular thing later in this video. So you can even add notification alerts within the task as well. Like you would have seen that adding notification on the pipeline level, but in Databricks jobs, you can add alerts on the task level as well. In Azure Data Factory, even it is not very simple because you need to set up the logic app for that, and you need to create a different web activity to make that API call. But here it is pretty much straightforward. Makes sense. Then we have retry policy. This is very important. In the real world, sometimes the pipeline fails due to any kind of intermittent networking issue or anything. So in those scenarios, we should add retry policy. So I can click on this pencil button and I can say number of retries, let's say 1 time. Okay. And it should wait 15 seconds before triggering the next retry. So basically, if I set up this, what it will do, let's say task A fails. So it will not fail the entire pipeline. It will wait for 15 seconds. It will retry for one more time. And then it will just see like what happens. Make sense? Very good. Now, for now, it's fine. Click on create task and that's it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You can just drag it down, click here. So this is your task A. You can move it anywhere. Okay. So this is your task A, which is a notebook. Let's say you want to add another task. Click on plus task. Okay. Let's say notebook. Okay. So by default, it will be attached to the previous task on success. Okay. And just do the same thing. Provide the name, let's say task B. Perfect. Then you have path. Path is this one. Perfect. Now it is saying depends on. This is very important. It is saying, hey, task B should be dependent on task A. By default, it picks this, but you can even change it. Don't worry. I will just show you. Then it is saying run if dependencies. That means how task B will be triggered. What does it mean? So basically, if task A is succeeded or basically successfully ran, then we should run task B in most of the scenarios. But this will not be this will not be the scenario every time. Why? Because let's say your task A failed and you want to run task B if task A fails. Then you will attach it on all failed, or basically at least one. That depends if you have multiple dependencies, but for now you can just say all failed. Make sense? So not every time you will just configure the tasks on success. You will also configure your task on failures as well, because that's how you want to build your pipelines, right? Perfect. Then parameters. No, we do not have any kind of parameters. And the best thing is you can provide parameters like here, or you can even provide parameters in the JSON format. Let's see, let's say like this. Parameter 1 and value is this one. Parameter 2, value is this one. But UI is better. Okay. This is very handy. Like when you are not using Databricks web UI. Okay. But if you're using Databricks web UI, then obviously this is like convenient. Okay. Perfect. So this is done. I will click on create task. Okay. And where are my tasks? I cannot see, obviously. Click on the square button it will bring it. Okay, so these are my 2 tasks that I have created so far. Let's say I want to create the third task as well, which is task C. But task C should be running after task A instead of task B. Make sense? Okay. I will add task A and again notebook. By default, it will add this task after B, but we do not want that, right? So simply provide the name first of all. Let's say task C. Okay. Then type is same. Then provide the path. Path is this one. Basics and notebook C. Okay, perfect. So now what do you need to do? In the depends on field, you need to pick, basically first of all, click on close icon. Okay. So you will see that now this is independent because it is not dependent on anything. So if you want this kind of behavior, that means you want to run task A and task C together and task B only if task A is succeeded. You can just do this. But if you want to run task C after task A, you need to add a dependency and you will simply pick task A. Perfect. Now the DAG looks like this. See? Perfect. Okay. Everything is same. Okay. Click on create task. So these are the tasks created for you. Wow. Literally wow. Okay. Task A, task B, task C. Simple. Now you can click on run now, or even if you want to rename it, rename your pipeline, basically job, you can click here and let's say job 1. Okay. Now click on run now. Before run now, let me just bring the screen. Okay. We will be covering all these things. Okay. Don't worry. But one thing I want to tell you, always turn on this thing performance optimized. Otherwise it will take a lot of time to run it. Okay. Now I will click on run now and click on view run to just see like how our pipeline is behaving, how our pipeline is running. So it will take us to that particular screen where the pipeline is running. And let me just show you, even if you do not click on view run, you can click on this small button and here you can click on this pipeline and here you will see all the runs. So currently this pipeline is running. See, this pipeline is running and this is the instance. See, this task is running for now. Okay. And for now task A is running. Once the task A is completed, it will directly run task B and task C together because they are configured in parallel. Make sense? They are configured in parallel. See, both are running together. Perfect. Both. And this actually ran successfully. You can even click on it and you can see what actually happened. So this just printed this particular command. That's it. Okay. Then these two are running and these two are also succeeded. This took, I think, 16 seconds, 23 seconds, 37 seconds. Okay. This is like high level overview of the job. You can also click on timeline just to see like this task took 37 seconds and this task took 23 seconds. This task took 16 seconds and this was started at this time and all those things. You can also see in the list format, see like this. Graph is good in some cases, but usually I prefer this thing. Task A, task B, task C, because timeline is also not handy when you have complex pipeline. List is the perfect thing. Okay. And you can also see depends on. Perfect. So let's say I want to go to this tab again, jobs and pipelines. Okay. This is my job. If I click here, you will see this button. Let's say you will ask Ansh Lamba, what if I want to change my pipeline? Let's say I want to add one more task. Let's say I want to delete a task. How I can just do that? You just need to click on tasks and here is your job editor open. You can do the same things. Click on add task, click on any task to change the settings or anything. Make sense? Make sense, make sense, make sense. So this is a very simple, you can say first Lakeflow job that you have created. Okay. Now we will be just taking a more real-time approach because in this particular pipeline, we simply learned how we can just orchestrate the tasks. Very simple orchestration. Okay. Now let's see how we can add conditionals. How we can just add, hey, just run. See, currently in task A, after task A, both the tasks are running, task B and task C. Okay. What if I want to run task B, not task C, or task C, not task B, task. Let me just explain you what I'm trying to say and what you need to achieve. Okay. Let me just tell you. let's try to understand if conditions. So let's take the same example. So let's say this is our task A. Okay. Now, currently we are running task B and task C in parallel. Okay. Okay. Together. But let's say I do not want to run both the tasks. Okay. I want to add a condition. I want to run task B if let's say today is weekend or weekday. Let's say weekend. And then I want to run task C if today is weekday. So I want a kind of if condition. I don't want to run both the tasks together. So I want to run it like this. See? And then either this task will be running or this task will be running. So I want to build this kind of dependency, and if condition are so popular, you would have also used in your Excel, in SQL, because in SQL we have like case when statement, like similar to that. In programming language for sure, obviously. So if conditions are there in the jobs as well, Lakeflow jobs as well, like how you can just configure your Lakeflow jobs based on the conditions, and it can be any condition. Okay. So let's take this example. Let's say we want to run task B if today is weekend, and if we just want to run task C if today is weekday. Makes sense? Very simple, you can say use case, and very common use case, because in the real industry as well, there are some tasks that we only want to run on the weekend. That's it. And we do not want to run it on the weekdays. Same thing, right? So let's see how we can just configure this thing in Databricks jobs. Let me show you. So I am on my Databricks portal. Okay. And let me just click on this particular job because I want to edit this job. Okay. You can also create a new job. Okay. The thing is, every time you should create a new job, instead of adding a job, you can edit a job. That's fine, because in the free edition, and let's talk about this error as well, you can get quota limit exceeded, or basically not quota limit, or basically you can say resources are exhausted and all those things related to compute. It can be serverless SQL warehouse compute as well and normal serverless compute as well. Because you are using free edition and you do not have much resources to do anything. So that is why if you see that error, do not worry, because that is a temporary issue or basically temporary error. If you see that error, you need to wait for, let's say, 1 hour or basically max 2 hours. Those resources will be reset and you will be having cluster up and running after that time. Okay. And if we are getting so many jobs, it can hold some resources which can affect that particular issue. Make sense? So I can either delete this job. Okay. So every time you should have only one job if you are using free edition. Otherwise you can see that error, because I see those errors sometimes. That is why I prefer keeping only one job. So now we are editing this job, so that is fine. If I want to create a new job, then obviously I will delete it. So you need to remember this as well. Otherwise you will be seeing that error. Okay. Click on this job 1 because we are only editing it. So this time you can click on tasks. Okay. And just have some more space. Okay, perfect. Let me first of all delete this task. Okay. Click on this delete task and click on this delete task. Perfect. So here after task A, I want to attach a task. Click here and just scroll down and just click on if else condition, because I want to add if else condition. By default it is not attached to task A, but we will just attach it. Don't worry. I want to add this task and I want to name it as, let's say, if weekend. Okay. Now it is saying, okay, I can just run anything. But before that, what is the condition? What is the condition? Here you can use anything. Let's say weekday or any value. Let's say 1 equals to 1 or anything. Okay, literally anything. But we want to use some functions that can return today's date, because you want to see like if today is weekend or not. I will simply click on this insert dynamic value reference, and here you will see some functions available for us. Let's say job.starttime.is weekday, or you can say ISO. So basically I can pick is weekday. So if this is weekday, okay, I would say if see what this will return. What this will return? Job dot start time dot is weekday. What this it will return? It will obviously return true or false, as the name suggests. Makes sense? So if today is weekday, then it will return true. So I can simply say true, or I can click on this dynamic value reference and I can see if we have true here. Okay, I can see true here, or there is like one more method I can just show you. Don't worry, I will just show all the things. So you can either write true here, not a big deal, but you can just use another function as well. What's that? So the function says, if you scroll down, you will get weekday, job dot start time dot ISO weekday. That means today's weekday. Or you have job dot start time dot day as well. This will give you the day. Day means like if let's say today is, let's say 24, so it will simply say 24. But if we want weekday, we can simply pick this one, ISO weekday. So if this equals to 6 or 7, not 6 or 7 basically, because in here in like in the North America region, we start our week from Sunday, that means from 1. Okay, so that means it can be either 7 or 1, because 7 will be Saturday. Yeah, so I can simply say, instead of equals to, I want to say equals. Okay, let's pick equals to. Okay, if it is equals to let's say 7, let's say, okay, we just want to pick, let's say 7. Make sense? Okay, then I want to run something. If it is not 7, then I want to run something else. Make sense? And we want to add dependency. I will simply say task A. Perfect. So it is done. So it is saying, okay, if this condition is true, that means if Saturday, not weekend, because we are just simply running it for Saturday. Let's say if Saturday. Makes sense? And type is if else condition. Perfect. So now it is saying, okay, I got your point. So let me say save task. So this is not actually completed. If I drag it here, perfect. So now it is saying task A if Saturday, but we have two things, true or false. Now I will say add task and I will pick notebook, and this notebook will be by default attached to true. If you want to attach it to false, same thing, you can just change the dependency. I will say task B. Okay, and all succeeded, that's it, and everything is same. Create task and create task. Okay, we didn't pick the location, so task B. Perfect. Create task. So this task is created like this. Let's say add another task, which is task C. So obviously task C should be the part of if condition, that means of the false condition, right? So I'll simply say, first of all, select the notebook, task C, basically notebook C, then just change the dependency. It is not dependent on task B. It is dependent on if conditions false statement. Perfect. Click on create task. So now this pipeline is ready. Basically job, Databricks job is ready. See? Okay. So what will happen? It will run task A, then it will run the condition. If condition is true, then it will run task B. Otherwise it will run task C. Make sense? So I can simply say run now, and I can click on view run to see like what is happening right now. So by default it is showing me list. I can simply see graph, and initially it will turn on that particular compute. Okay, so task A, currently this is running, then this will run, and if it is not equals to 7, it will run task C. Otherwise task B. Ideally it should run task C because it should not return 7, or it can, like I don't know like which date format it will pick. Yeah, it can, because today is Sunday, so it took like 7. So you can also click here, okay, just to see 7. This is the expression. So it was equals to like this was equivalent to 7 because it treated Sunday as 7, but in some countries or basically in some applications they treat Sunday as 1 instead of 7. But it is good if it just picked Sunday as 7. That is a good way to just look at the week. Okay, so this is our job run. See, this is our job run. Very good. Task A, and then if condition, task B and task C. Very good. So this way you can add conditions in your Lakeflow job. This way you can just add a kind of test so that you can say, hey, run this pipeline if this is true. Run this basically activity if this is false. Anything you can just do that. Anything you can just do with that. Anything. Make sense? Very good. Now let's see another complex thing, not complex thing, because it will be easy in just few minutes. Okay, so let me just talk about that thing. Let's talk about the loops in, you can say, Databricks Lakeflow jobs. So first of all, let's quickly talk about like why do we need loops? Why? And how loops behave in the Lakeflow jobs. So basically, for example, you have a task. Okay, let's say you have this task and its name is, let's say, task A. Okay, task A, not a very good color, but oops, task A. Okay, so this is our task A. Make sense? You want to run this task. Okay, you want to run this task on a loop, or basically on basis of an array. Because see, whenever you use a loop, you use something called as iterations. Okay, so you need an object which is iterable. For example, data types such as list. If we define list, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so let's say this is a list. So this list can be iterated. It can first access this element, then this, then this, then this, then this. Okay, tuple. Okay, tuple. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, this is also iterable. Strings are also iterable. So you need an array if you want to run this particular task in a loop. Okay, and you know that the very popular loop, if you don't know, now you will know that whenever we want to try, or basically we want to create a loop, we always go with array, basically a kind of list. Okay, always. We rarely use tuple. Okay, we always, 99% of the time you will be using array. Yes, within this array you can have tuples, dictionaries, all those things, but the parent data type will always be array. Make sense? It will not be tuple. Okay, makes sense. This is sorted. So let's say you want to run your task for this array. Let's say my array looks like this: 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, just these 5 times. Okay, so you can do that with the help of loops within the Databricks Lakeflow jobs. Now this loop will become very advanced along with this video, because we are just trying to understand how we can just use loops, but with the time we'll be just referring how we can just use dynamic values, how we can just pass dynamic values and all those things. Make sense? But obviously we need to start from low level, right? So that you can understand the basics, then you will go to intermediate, then advanced and all those things, right? So now let me just show you how you can just build loops within Databricks jobs. Okay, let me show you. So we are here on our Databricks portal. Okay, so I will simply click here and click on jobs and pipelines. Okay, so let's delete this job, as I just mentioned earlier as well, because we will not be creating useless jobs. Like obviously we are not using job 1 and we do not want to, you can say, hold our resources, because you're using free edition and you do not want any kind of errors, right? So I'll simply say create a job, new job from scratch. Perfect. So in order to create this job, what I will do, I will simply go with create another task. Okay, battery low. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now in order to create this job, I will start with with a simple task, which is notebook. I will pick this notebook. Okay, and I will just name it as loop task. Okay, loop task, and we already know the path is here. Let's say I want to run my notebook A on the in the loop. Okay, basically in a loop. So basically this is all I want to do. I will click on create task. You will ask Ansh Lamba, this is just a normal task, how we can just loop it? Basically there are two ways. One is, once your task is created and if you want to run this task in a loop, you can pick this button which says loop over this task, and this is the best way to do it. Okay, I can click on it and it will work. But even if you want to, let's say, start from scratch, then you will say add task. Okay, and first of all let me just delete this just to show you. So it will not let me delete that because this is the only task. Let me just add another task which says for each. Now scroll down and you will find for each. Okay, this is the one. Perfect. So now this is the for each loop. I will say my loop. This is my loop. Okay, makes sense. And it is saying input. Now it is saying, okay, I will run the loop, but what is the array? So here I can provide the array. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say this is my array. Okay, concurrency optional. By the way, what is concurrency? Concurrency is basically something that will allow you to run multiple, more than one object in parallel. Because when you, let's say, running a loop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it will first run 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, right? That's how a loop performs. But when you set concurrency, let's say I am setting concurrency 5, so it will simply run all the, you can say, notebooks together. Let's like all the items of all the iterations of the loop together, because concurrency is 5. What should be the ideal concurrency size? You will say it's very easy, just the size of the array. Not really, no. Ideally you should set the concurrency to, I would say, between 10 to 20. That's it, not more than that. Okay, but here we just have 5 records, so we do not need any kind of concurrency. It's fine. Okay, so it is saying set this value higher than the default of 1 if you want concurrently run several iterations of the task, as I just mentioned. Okay, any dependency? Not really, because you'll be deleting this particular task. Okay, so now it is saying this loop is created. Now it is saying add a task to loop over. I will click on yes, I want to create a task to loop over. Task name will be, let's say, looped task. Looped task. And what will be the looped task? Looped task will be notebook A. Okay, very good. And everything is fine? Yes, everything is fine. Perfect. Now you can say create task. Perfect. And let me just bring it here. And let me just delete this because this is not required anymore, because we are simply creating a loop. So what will happen here? It will simply run a loop. That's it. If I say run now, and if I say view run, you will see that this particular thing, like I can also switch it to graph view by clicking on this thing, and then you will see, like, obviously it is just running for now. So once it is done, it will just show you. So what will happen in this particular scenario? It will run all the iterations one by one, and it will simply run same notebook 5 times. Make sense? Like if you just want to run any notebook in a loop, you can just do it like this. For now it is in pending state because we didn't turn on that particular optimized thing. It takes time, but it's fine. It should run fine. There's no issue in that. That is for sure. For sure means for sure. Make sense? And you can also say edit task, cancel task, run. If you just want to cancel it, it's up to you. If you want to cancel it, let's say cancel run, because we know like what will happen. And let me just show you. This is the job, and you can just click on tasks, and then you can just bring that screen, and you can just actually configure it this performance optimized, because otherwise it will take a lot of time. Okay, makes sense. Now if I say run now, then it should be running much more quicker as compared to the previous scenario. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So this is our start time and run ID, and this is the view that we have picked, which is the list view, which is, I think, very good. Okay, and you can see like inputs are 1 2 3 4 5, concurrency is 1 by default, and then that's it. So it will be running and it has succeeded. So as you can see here, these are all the, you can say, iteration which is 0, because we have total 5 elements, so it goes from 0 till n-1. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, makes sense. See, all the iteration will be here. So this was iteration 1, then iteration 2, and iteration 3 is running right now, then 4, then 5. Make sense? Okay, very good. So this way it performs your iteration. So your notebook will be now running 5 times instead of just 1 time. Make sense? This is the concept of loop. That's it. It is very easy. But yes, we have some real-time scenarios that we'll be covering with this concept, so that you can actually understand why do we use loop. Because obviously you will think, hey, why do we need to run the same notebook 5 times? You need to, but you need to have some requirements, and I will give you the requirements. Okay, don't worry. And this is the last iteration. Let's wait for 1 second. Yeah, perfect, it's done. So we can see that all the 5 iterations are done. See, 5 iterations, perfect. So all are done, and this is the way that you should see. This is the job, and then this is the runs that you have overall, and these are the runs. This is the latest run, because the previous one we actually deleted or maybe cancelled it. Okay, so this is fine. Loops are fine, makes sense. Now let me first of all delete this, because we'll be just creating a new job. And what is the next topic we need to cover in this particular area? So the next topic is dynamic values. So let's level up the game, because all the fundamentals, all the basic concepts are clear. So let's enter into the intermediate stage. Okay, so the thing is, let's say you have one notebook, that is fine. Oops, let's create a bigger notebook. So let's say this is the notebook A. Okay, now this notebook will return some value. Okay, like there is some value within this notebook. There's a variable, there's a parameter, there's an array, anything. Okay, there's a returning value. And then I have notebook B. Okay, what do I have? Notebook B. I want to use this returning value within this notebook. Use return value. So here I would need to use this value dynamically within this notebook. It is called task reference values. Okay, where I want to refer to the value of this task. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, in this notebook B, I want to add one more challenge, which is, you can say, I have a parameter basically that I want to fill with this value, and this parameter will go here to use a returning value. Make sense? I hope it makes sense. Then there is another notebook which is called, let's say, notebook C. Perfect. Now this notebook C doesn't have any kind of parameter, nothing. Okay, but this notebook C has a variable, inline variable. Okay, inline variable, and this notebook C wants to use this value directly in this notebook instead of any kind of orchestration, or even without any kind of job, anything. How we can just do that? Let's do this. So this is one step ahead, I know, but it is important, and that's how you grow. And don't worry, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Why are you worrying, bro? I'm with you. Don't worry at all. So let's see one by one, and let's actually create one folder called basically intermediate, because this is like one level up. Okay, let's see. So we are here in our Databricks portal, and this is basically the documentation that you can read use task values to pass information between tasks. Okay, and don't worry, I know this will be a little bit confusing in the beginning, but it is very easy. And don't worry, I'll just demonstrate it and you will be like, hey, this is so simple. This is so simple. And trust me, if you are able to understand this thing, let me tell you, your 50% of the task is done, because this is the backbone of your pipelines, of your jobs, everything. Okay, because in the real world we build these pipelines where we are just referencing the values from previous tasks. Okay, very good, my bro, my sister. So now the thing is, we need to create a folder first of all. Okay, the folder says intermediate. Perfect, intermediate. Within the intermediate, we will be creating first notebook. Okay, and we will just keep the naming convention same. Let's call it as notebook XYZ this time. Okay, just to differentiate it. Notebook X. Okay, perfect. So in this notebook X, I will create a kind of, let's say, data frame. Okay, let's create a pseudo data frame and let's connect this notebook to serverless. And let's say spark dot create data frame. Perfect. Just give me some pseudo values, like simple. Perfect. And that's it. And display df, we can simply display it if we want. Okay, so this is just a like simple data frame that we just built it. Now this data frame, okay, this data, let's say I'm building a Databricks job and I want to log the number of records, because being a data engineer, being a good data engineer, you need to add all the monitoring capabilities within your Databricks jobs. Okay, so let's say I want to add some monitoring. I want to add some kind of lineage, not like lineage directly. It can act as a lineage if you use those values, but let's say I want to just add a monitoring and I want to see how many records I am processing on a daily basis. So obviously what I will do, let's say this is my data frame. Okay, and this is very simple data frame, but obviously when you are just writing complex data frame and you got your end data frame, final data frame that you are processing. So what I will do, I will simply say display df.count. Okay, so what it will do, it will simply give me the count of records. Simple. You want to log this, not log, basically let's say you want to do something with this number. You want to add some monitoring. Makes sense. Because count is a very good feature when you just want to see, hey, how many records you are processing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or on every run. Okay, very good. So I will create, let's say, total records. Okay, total records will be df.count. Make sense? Very good. And this is my variable. I can even print it if you want. Let's say total records, and this will give me the number 3. Okay, now this is done. This is my first notebook. If you remember the lineage, we want to create one notebook and we want to use this value in the second notebook, right? Right, my bro, right, my sister. So Ansh Lamba, be serious. So now you cannot use it as is, because this is just a notebook, right? You need to create a utility which will say, now you can use this value in any other notebook, in any other task. Let me repeat. We have all the code. Let's say you have written 1,000 lines of code. Sometimes you write, okay? Then you just want to use this variable, this one, total records, in your output as your returning value, right? So here comes the utility called dbutils dot, let me just write it for you. It's called dbutils dot task dot jobs. So this is basically the utility that is recently added for jobs, for Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. It is called dbutils dot jobs dot task values dot values dot set. Now you are setting the value. I will simply say total records. Okay, And what will be the returning value? Obviously total records value itself. So this can be anything. This is basically a kind of key identifier for your value. So if you want to access this particular variable from this notebook, you will be using this key, and that is the same thing written here as well. So it is saying, hey, you want to simply create a key. I didn't put this particular abbreviation. I do not like it. I simply like it putting it directly, but you can write it like this as well. Let's say key equals this one and value equals to this one. Same thing that they have done here. Simple. When you write this, it becomes more readable. So it's your like personal choice. Okay. So when I run this, it will run fine because it is not doing anything here. But you know what? Let's say, let's create another notebook. Let me just call it as notebook Y. Notebook Y. Okay. So this notebook Y have a parameter as we just mentioned. Okay. And how we can create a parameter in Databricks? It is very simple. You simply need to create dbutils.widgets.text. Let's say this parameter name is para1. Okay. And the default value is null, nothing. Make sense? Okay, very good. Nothing. Okay. So you will see one box here. Here it is running. So once it is done, you will see one box. Okay. So this will create a kind of widget, which is also called as, you can say, parameter. Okay. What is the advantage of it? You can make your code modular. Let's say I want to print anything. Let's say Ansh Lamba. Okay. And if I just want to access it, there's another utility called dbutils.widgets.get. Okay. And here I can simply say para1. Okay. And if I just run this, you will see the value Ansh Lamba. Make sense? So whatever value you provide here, it will simply return the string. Even if I just, let's say, put a list, let's say 1 2 3 4 like this. Okay. And if I run it again, it will return the string form of list because it is a widgets.text. Make sense? And obviously you can just use your Python skills to convert this string list into normal list using, I think, eval function. Yeah, it works with PySpark. So you can simply say eval. Let's say if I write eval, so now it is a list. So it is just like a normal transformation that you can just perform. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's say I want to just do this. Okay. Let me just remove this. I don't want to convert it into a list. I just want to keep it like this. Let's say I want to just put Ansh Lamba. So I can just literally put anything and this will return me this. So let me just add it here, para1 value. Okay. And I can simply print para1. Makes sense. So now what will happen? For now, I am simply hard coding this value, but I do not want to hard code this value. Really? Yes. Because now let me just tell you what will happen. I want to create a parameter which says records, basically records processed. Make sense? So this particular dbutil, let me just run this. Okay. So I can simply delete this, remove parameter. Perfect. So now I have this particular records process. Let's say 3. If I run here 3, I will get records processed. Perfect. Perfect. So what I'm seeing here, wow, nothing, because we have renamed this thing. Records processed. Perfect. How many records I'm seeing here? 3. Very good. If I say 10, how many records I'm seeing here? 10. So I am currently hard coding this records, right? These records. I want to log, I want to perform a monitoring on top of this notebook X, because I do not know how many records I will be getting in the notebook X. That totally depends upon the records that I will be just processing. Okay. Or how many records are coming from the source. So I want to store that information. Make sense? In the notebook, why? Because notebook Y is my monitoring notebook that uses that value. Okay, very good. So here, what I will do in my Databricks job, I will not hard code this value. I will dynamically pass this value from notebook X, and there I will be using this key, this one, because this key is the identifier for that value. See here in notebook X, we have total records. Make sense? So this is what we will be using, and that's how you pass the task values. Basically dynamic value references, but task value, first need to create the task value, only then you can just pass it dynamically between the tasks. Make sense? Then we have a concept called dynamic value reference, because now we have the task, how we will be just referencing the value. Let's say you have notebook X, fine. You have notebook Y, fine. How you will refer the value between, like what is the code, what is the way? It is very simple. You just need to type this thing. Let's say curly braces, then tasks, then dot task name, then key. That's it. Okay, and I will just show you in the UI as well, don't worry, and let me just show you in the documentation first of all. So here, if I scroll down, yeah, see, so here I can simply zoom a little bit. See, so here we have so many options: tasks, dot task name, then output as well. Then you can simply put basically your task name, whatever. Okay, so these are all the functions that we can use to refer the values dynamically. And you can say options for date and time values, and we have already used these functions, SQL output options, and so many other things, right? And don't worry, I know this is a little bit confusing, that's why I'm creating this video, so that you can understand it easily. Okay, access parameter values and all those things, no worries at all. So now notebook X is completed, notebook Y is completed. Let's create notebook Z. What this notebook will do? This notebook Z. So what this notebook will do? This notebook will access the data directly from here, directly from notebook X. Because in notebook Y, we will be using data in the form of parameter and through dynamic value reference in the job. But let's say in the notebook Z, I want to use the value directly in my code, inline code. There's a way, there's a utility for that. It's called dbutils dot jobs dot task values dot get. And here you will write the task name. Task name can be determined once you create the task in the job. Then you will pass the key. What is the key? We know that key is this one, which is called total records. Make sense? Very good. So this is the key, which is called total records. Okay. But what is the task name? It is not decided yet. Okay, we will decide it later on. And I can just show you task values page. And if I say data values dot get, so this is the way. We simply say task key. Task key is just your task name, and then key is your basically the key identifier that you have just performed. Okay, don't worry. I am here to tell you everything. Let's create a job now and you will understand everything. Okay, let me just create a duplicate tab here so that you can anytime come back and see the notebooks, because whenever you create the dynamic notebooks, you need to come and see the outputs. Okay, so let's go to jobs and let's create the job here. Let me just go here, job, and let me create this job. So first of all, I will add notebook. You can even search it. Okay, perfect. So this is my, let's say, task X. Okay, and in this task we literally do not have anything. We just need to pick that notebook and that's it. Intermediate notebook X and perfect. No parameter, nothing, because we are actually not creating anything in this one. But next task is interesting. When I say another task as notebook, I will say task Y. Okay, so here I need to pick the path. Path will be notebook Y. Okay, then we need to say we have a parameter. If you remember, we have parameter, which is called this one, records processed. Okay. So I need to just simply copy the exact name. Okay. And here I will add the parameter. Click on plus add and then pass the key. Okay. Now is the interesting thing how the value will be given here. I can hard code the value 10, 100, 3, 50, any value. But our goal is to pass the value dynamically. So let me tell you what will happen. You can start with something like this, tasks, and you will get the suggestions. Okay. What is a task? We want tasks as this one, task X, because the previous task is task X. Okay. Then we can simply say values. Okay. And then I want value as my key name. So this is the key name that I want to provide, which is called total records. Make sense? Perfect. So this is one way of doing it. If you remember the syntax, if you do not remember the syntax, then obviously you will write your normal key, like the parameter name, which is this one, records processed, not total records. Records processed. Okay. Now, if you do not remember the syntax, simply click on this one and then scroll down and you will find task related something. So you can simply say tasks dot values. Okay. And then you will provide the key. The key is total records. That's it. This is one way of doing it using UI. You can also use JSON. If you use JSON, it will become like this. Same thing. So in JSON, you know that we have key value pairs. So key will be this one, exactly same in double quotes, because in JSON we simply encapsulate the key in double quotes. But in the value as well, you will be encapsulating the dynamic value in double quotes like this. And this will be automatically filled. The thing is, let's say I remove it. Okay, let's say I remove it. If I try something like this, let's say task dot something, I will not get these suggestions. Okay, so for that you have to write the exact code, which is not practical. Okay, which is not practical. So you will not get the recommendations. So what I do, I simply go with the UI and then I convert it into JSON. That's it. If I want to see something, make sense? Okay, and always go with UI. It's always better. Make sense? Perfect. So this is the way I want to fill this value, create task. So now what will happen? This particular task will use this value dynamically. And we do not know how many records do we have. Make sense? Very good. Now I want to create another task, which is called task Z. Perfect. And here I will simply pick the notebook. Perfect. And here we do not have any kind of parameter, nothing. We are simply using this pipe in this notebook, but I don't want to keep it on depend on Y. We can simply say it depends on X, because it is not actually creating any kind of dependency on Y. It is only dependent on X. So it makes sense to just keep it on dependent on X. Okay. Let me just click on run now and let's see what happens. Click on view run and you will see this tag, and let's see what happens, because obviously this is like your first complex Lakeflow job that you have created. And oh, I need to cancel this. Why? Because I didn't optimize it. So let me go here and click on tasks, then click on optimize. Perfect. Now you can run it. Otherwise it will take a lot of time. Perfect. So now we can see the runs, this one. Perfect. Now it is running. And I will just show you the output of each notebook. Don't worry, because that is the most important thing. Okay. Okay. My background. Okay, it's fine. Okay, makes sense. It should not take much time, because It's just a normal code. Perfect. This ran fine. And we actually do not need to see any output, or basically output of this, because we need to see output of these two, because this is not actually returning anything. Like returning as in dynamically returning. It is just returning the number of records. So this is important. Task Y and task Z. Perfect. So let me just click on task Y and we should see the value 3. Perfect. And we didn't provide this value hard coded. This 3 value came from task X automatically. Very good. If I see task Z, it is still running and it failed. Okay. Let's see what's the error. Not a big deal. So it is saying, oh, obviously it would fail. We didn't provide the task name. Common sense. So I will simply provide the task name, because this task name can only be provided once it is done. So I can simply say task X, because this value, this key is coming from here. See this task. So now I can simply rerun it, or you can also click on repair task. So what it will do, repair task is very important. Repair tasks only run the pipeline from the failed activity. So it is not running task X and task Y again. It is only running task Z. This is one pro tip that you just recently got because of the failure. That's why I say, whenever you see failures, feel happy. In the data engineering world, obviously, like failures in pipelines. Okay. So now this time I think it should run fine, but not sure if, yeah, it ran fine. So we should see 3 here as well. Perfect. So we can see 3 here. So that's how you pass values dynamically, and that's how you create task values using set and get method. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? If you understood this, your 50% of the work is done. If not, it's fine. It's fine. Just rewatch this part, because when I was also learning, I think watched these things so many times. Then how I just understood this, because it is what it is. Why you need to understand everything in one go? Who are you? You like, why? You should just watch the parts like multiple times. Why you need to just watch, like, why you need to just learn everything in one go? And why do you expect this? Why? Why? Okay, so this is done. Very good, very good. Let me just show you, because see, we understood the concept of parameterization, passing the values dynamically with the notebooks. But what will happen with SQL? How we will be just tackling the scenarios with SQL? It's very simple. Really, it's very simple and very important as well. Let me just show you what happens with SQL. So let's say, go to workspace. Okay. And obviously we do not have any kind of warehouse, basically lake house, so that we can query. So first of all, we have to create that. Okay. So that we can actually at least do something with that. And let me create a catalog. I have so many catalogs. I will delete the unused ones. So let me just click on plus catalog, click on create catalog, and I will simply say DB jobs. Perfect. Click on create, configure catalog, then simply say next, save. Perfect. So this is my catalog, and this is the default schema, and I want to use default schema. I don't want to keep anything else. Why to just waste resources? Okay. So now what I will do, I will go to workspace. Okay. And within this workspace, I will be creating a SQL file. Okay. Click on file, not query. It will be a file. Okay. There's a difference between query and file, especially in Databricks. Yes, we can use queries as well, but queries do not work well with Databricks Lakeflow Jobs, because they cannot accept dynamic values. We have to just provide the static values, and I don't want that. Let's say first file.sql, let's say. Okay. So if I click on catalog, and this is my catalog, this is a default schema, and we do not have anything, right? So let's create a demo table. Let's say create table orders, id int. Give me something, bro. What you are doing, bro? AI bro. id Why are you not completing my code? Bro. Complete this code, bro. Yeah, good boy. Perfect. So insert into, yeah, good boy. Yep, shipped, and we need to provide total amount as well, right? Perfect. Yes, let's insert these 4 records and that should be good. So this table is created, orders. Okay, and by the way, I'm not sure if it is created. Let me just cancel it because I need to provide the catalog name as well. db jobs dot default dot this. Perfect. db jobs conflict detected. Bro, which conflict? db jobs dot default dot orders. Perfect. Let me just run it. Yeah, now it should be good. So this is like, we are simply creating a simple table, okay, within our lakehouse. And what we will do, we will create a parameterized query and we will feed that value on the basis of that. Makes sense? Okay. So now what we will be doing, and this is just a like hypothetical situation, so do not feel like, hey, what are you doing, blah 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 blah. So okay, this is done. Okay, and this is file SQL, and I can just remove everything because I actually do not need this. This thing will be using select statement. Let's say I want to say select asterisk from db jobs dot default dot orders where id equals, let's say, 3. So what I will get in return, obviously simple id equals to 3, order details, very good. But I do not want to just hard code this value. I want to get this value dynamically. Okay, so how we can just create a parameter in SQL warehouse, especially in Databricks. We have a syntax called this, and this is my variable id. Perfect. So what this will do, this will create similar box here, so as we had in notebook. So now whatever value I will provide here, let's say 1, and if I just run this, it will give me details for order id 1. Make sense? So now how we can just dynamically get the value in the Databricks jobs, similar to that notebook, how we can just do that. Okay, let's go to our jobs and let's do that here, like there, and let me just create a duplicate tab. Perfect. So what I will do, I will go to jobs, okay, and I will simply click on this job and I will go to tasks and I will edit this task instead of creating a new one from scratch. So what I want, first of all, I want to delete this. Perfect. Delete this. Okay, perfect. And I also want to change one thing. What is that? I want to change my notebook X. So now notebook X, what will do, it will not give me the number of records. Okay, it will simply give me the ID. So I can simply create another key as well. We can create multiple keys. Okay, and I will create order ID equals, let's say 3, or let's say 2, or let's say 1. Okay, and I want to create a key based on this one. Perfect. Order ID and value is order ID. Make sense? Very good. I want to do that, so I can create multiple keys within single notebook. There's not like there's nothing like you can only create one key. Okay, so what I will do, I will go to my job, and this time this is my first notebook that will be running, that is for sure. I will add a task and I will simply search SQL, and we should see SQL file. Now there are two options, SQL query and SQL file. Sometimes SQL file will not appear. This option will only be appearing, which is called SQL query. It is fine. Why? You can click on it and then you can change it from here, SQL task and then change it to file. Can we keep it query? No, because this is not a query, this is a file. Okay, so I'll simply say SQL query. Okay, perfect. Now path is, we need to select the path, intermediate, first file.sql. SQL warehouse, we just have one, so it will pick that, depends on this one. Perfect. Now we have a parameter which is called var id, if you remember. And what will be the value? So now this is the difference. If I would have created a SQL query, I will not get this option, which is dynamic content. I can only hard code the value, but with SQL files, we can add dynamic content. That's why I like SQL files more. Maybe they'll be just adding this feature in future. Okay, nice. So now what is the value? Same thing. Tasks dot this output values. Now you will change the key. Now key will become order ID instead of the previous one, total records. Okay, you can say create task. So now your task is created. Now do you know what I want to do? This is done, like one way is done. So now you can think, okay, SQL queries or SQL files can receive the values dynamically, but Ansh Lamba, if we want to use any value from notebook, we use something called as dbutils.jobs.blah blah blah. What if I want to use the output of this query in my notebook or basically in anything? This is a SQL file. We cannot use dbutils in SQL. How we will be doing this? It is very simple. Let me just show you. So first of all, let's create a new notebook. Okay, and let's call it as notebook SQL. And notebook SQL. Perfect. And what this notebook will be doing? This notebook will simply get the values. Make sense? So we'll simply create the parameter dbutils.widgets.text, and this will be SQL output. Default value is nothing, and let me just run this. Okay, so let me just add this particular notebook in my job. I will say SQL output because I want to use that output. Okay, makes sense? Very good. So now I will say path is this one, which is notebook SQL. There is a parameter which is called SQL output. Perfect. Now what will be the value? Because we have not set anything in our SQL file. See, nothing here. This is just a select statement. That's it. Yes, that is the magic that we gonna do. Magic is, we will simply say tasks dot SQL query dot output dot rows. So when we write this, see output dot rows or basically tasks. So here when we use SQL, we use output. When we use notebooks, we use values. You do not need to remember this because everything is there in this button and you can simply scroll it. Now what will happen? All the result, like everything, if I show you here we just have one row. Okay, if let's say I have 10 rows for order ID 1, any number of rows, it will convert this into the list of dictionaries. And what will be the key value pair? This is the key value pair, ID 1, customer ID this, order ID this, status this, total amount this. This is one dictionary. Then another dictionary for another row, then another dictionary for another row, and this will be the array. That will be the output, and that output will go here in my this notebook, and I can actually print it. If I want to print it, I can simply say dbutils.widgets.get, okay, and then let's say SQL output. Perfect. And we can simply say what is the output of it. Makes sense? Here we have nothing, but obviously makes sense. Very good. Now let's test it. And if there are any errors, then that means it is a good sign. Let's say run now. Actually, I need to cancel the run because I didn't. Oh, it's fine because this is like existing performance optimized. It is already optimized, so it is good. Okay, so let's see how it is behaving. So currently this task is running, task X, and we already know that this is fine because this will simply run the data and will give us the output. And then we have SQL query, That's nice. That's nice. Who is calling Mr. Ansh Lamba? Task X, perfect. Now SQL query is running, and let's see how it behaves. It should also run fine, but not sure. Like there can be some typos and anything, right? Okay, 21 seconds. Okay, perfect, man. Succeeded. That's what you want. Let me just show you the output of this. And we should have the output as this one. Oh, perfect. See, dynamically, we provide the value equals to 1. That's why we are seeing this output. ID equals to 1. Very good. And let's see this output, which is very interesting. Oh, this is also succeeded. Very nice. Let me click on this and let's see the output of this one. Perfect. See, this is the list of dictionaries. And what are the key value pairs? All the columns. Customer ID, ID1, order date, blah, blah, blah. And just one thing that I want to show you. So these are like all the rows. If you just want to get first row, you can also get that, because we have the option in the output.rows. You can select output.first row. In that scenario, it will simply return the first row of the SQL. That's it. Like we have so many options you can explore and just try and explore, but this is the major one. That's how you just pass the values within SQL. Within SQL. Very good. Now let's see how you can just create a kind of real-time scenario. Okay, let's work on more real-time scenario, and this will be like one step ahead, but now you will be able to understand that easily. Okay, let me just show you. So now let's talk about a real-time scenario. So now what is this real-time scenario? So let's say, and this will be like, let's say your day-to-day activity. Once you understand this, and if you are building Databricks Lakeflow Jobs, this will be your day-to-day activity, trust me. So let's say you have a source. Okay, you have a source. Okay, within the source you have, let's say, file 1, file 2, and let's say file 3. Okay, different files within the same source. Makes sense. Okay, now you need to process this data. Okay, what do I mean process data? You need to create a notebook, only one notebook, and you need to load the source. Let's use, let's say, whatever color we have. Okay, let's pick this one. Okay, so you just need to create only one notebook. Okay, and in this notebook you will be just getting all the data here. Now you will say, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? We can simply write our PySpark code and we can simply load data for these sources. What's the big deal? Yes, it's not a big deal. But let's say you have 300 files instead of just 3 files. Can you just repeat your code every time? The answer is no. So what we can do in that scenario? In that scenario, what you will do, you will create a kind of array. Okay, array of dictionaries. Okay, array of dictionaries, in which you will pass the values in the form of key value pairs. Key value pairs. Okay, then you will use this array of dictionaries as the input. So this array of dictionary will be the input for the notebook activity. Okay, this will be a notebook that you will be running inside a loop like this. So this array of dictionaries will go to the loop, and this loop will pass the value one by one to this notebook like this. So for example, you have values like this. Let's say this is your list, okay, and within the list you have, let's say, file 1, or basically file name, and then let's say file name is file 1, okay. Then you have, let's say, and this is basically a dictionary, okay. This is a dictionary. Make sense? This is a dictionary. Perfect. Then you have another dictionary here. See, like this. Let's say you have another dictionary. File name, then file 2. Okay, then so on. Then so on, like 300. So what you can do, and let's close this list. Okay, so you will be having list like this. So all these items of this loop will go inside this loop one by one, because this is an iterable, right? So first of all, only this, only and only this dictionary will enter in this loop. Only and only this one, okay? Once this dictionary is entered in this loop, then you will say, hey, you need to use this file name. Perfect. Then on the second iteration, I will say, hey, use this loop, use this loop value. It will go here and it will say, hey, use this file name. So that's how we can read the data dynamically using array of dictionaries and for each activity within Databricks. That's how for each activity works in Databricks. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Very good. I know it sounds complex, but it is not. Actually, it is not, because I am just telling you how to do it. So it's very, very easy. So let's actually do it and practice, and let's see how it goes. And let's see how it goes. Simple. So I am here back in my Databricks portal. So what I will do, first of all, I will simply delete this job, because only one job at a time. That's it. Okay. So now what we need to do, we have to create something called as a folder, okay, and it will be called as advanced. Make sense? Let's call it as advanced folder, advanced. Perfect. Within this, let's create our notebook, okay, and let me just close all the unnecessary notebooks to have some space. So I will simply call it as ingestion. Perfect. This is my ingestion notebook. Okay. So I will read the data. And first of all, where is the data? We need some data, right? Yes. For that, I will go to catalog and I will create a volume. Okay. So click on DB jobs, click on default schema, and within the default schema, create a volume. For volume, you would need some files, raw files. Where are the files? Go to my GitHub account. Where is that? Any repo? Maybe this one. So this is my repo, and click on this button and then go to repositories. Okay, and then Anshlamba YouTube. Yeah, you can just click here. It's fine. Okay. Then you can go to Databricks Lakeflow Jobs, okay, this one, and within this you will find these 3 Parquet files that you can download. You can click on these 3 dots, like first select the file and then download, or you can also download the entire folder. Like if you just click on this code, you will find download zip. That's it. Like this is, you can say, a kind of downloading the whole repo. Okay. So that's how you can simply download it. It's up to you how you want to download it, and you are smart enough to download that. Then I will be creating a volume and I will name it as, let's say, raw data. Don't worry, we are not discussing volumes in detail, so just follow the steps if you do not know what are volumes. Okay, click on create. Perfect. So this volume is created now. It is called raw data. Let's upload some data in this volume. So I have uploaded all the 3 files to this volume. Now let's go and create our notebook, okay, which is called ingestion. Perfect. So now we will simply creating a data frame, and before that we will need a parameter because we need to dynamically read the data, right? I will simply say db utils dot widgets dot text, and I will call it as file name. That makes sense. You can just pick any name. Default name will be nothing. Okay. Then I will simply get this data. db utils dot get, and I will store this data in a variable called file name. Okay. Dot get file name. Perfect. Okay. So this is fine. This is absolutely fine. So now I will write my code. df equals spark dot read dot format. Format is packet. Then we have dot option header true. Basically we do not need to say header true because this is not a CSV file. We can simply say dot load because that is the advantage of Parquet files. We have everything that we need. Okay. Then there is a special format. We can just read the volumes data, but do not need to worry. Simply go here, volumes, and then simply expand it, and then insert any file. So you will get the path. Encapsulate it in the double quotes, and that's it. So now you know that we do not need to, by the way, yeah, my voice is being recorded. So we need to replace this particular file name with the variable. Why? Because this is a dynamic link that we want to create, right? Because we do not want to hard code it, because there can be like 300 files as well. And I will use fstring, basics of Python. Perfect. So this is my df that I want to read. Make sense? And after reading this df, I also want to save this data frame. So I'll simply say df.write.format, and let's say I want to save it in the delta format. Not in the delta format. I will say in the Parquet format. Okay, I can do one thing. I can say file name dot Parquet. Why? Because in the file name, I will only provide the file name without extension. That's a good practice, because folder name will be messed up otherwise. So delta, then dot option, basically dot mode, overwrite, and I want to save this data in this particular volume, which is called raw data, right? So default, then we have raw data, and within the raw data I want to create a folder with the file name, right? So I will simply create a folder with the file name, or basically I can first create the sync folder, and within that sync folder I can save my folders. So I will simply say f, and then I can put file name. Perfect. So this is my code that I have. Make sense? Very good. So now if I run this, it will be running fine. That's for sure. So now what I want to do, you will be saying, Ansh Lamba, what will be the input for this? Obviously we need to create another notebook which will be holding our, you can say, array. Okay. So for that I will create another notebook. And don't worry, there are basically 2 ways to do it. This is like a complex real-time scenario, and you will be mastering it, don't worry. So here I can say basically lookup. Why lookup? Lookup, not lookup. You can say array. Okay, because this will be holding our array. I will simply say file names. Okay, and this will be an array like this, array of dictionaries, right? I will simply say file name, and first file name is orders. Okay, then second dictionary, file name will become products. Then I have file name, not customers, it is called regions. Perfect. So this is my file name. Now I want to use this particular array as the input, and now you know how we can just do that. We need to create something called as set value. So I will simply say dbutis.jobs dot task values dot set. Okay, and what will be the key? Key will be file names. Okay, and value will be this. Perfect. Make sense? Very good. So now let's perform this activity. Let's go to jobs and pipelines from here, and let's create a new job. Perfect. So from here I can simply say add another task. Let's pick notebook, and this notebook will be, let's say, array. Okay, and path will be Databricks jobs, advanced, and then array. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. And there is no dependency, no parameter, so it is fine. Perfect. Now let's add a loop. I will say add for each. Okay, this will be my dynamic ingestion. Make sense? Okay, and this time, this is interesting. Earlier when we were just learning about loop, we hard coded this value, right? Now we do not want to hard code it because we want to use the array which will be coming from this particular activity. Oh, so I can simply say task.array.values and then file names. So this is the array that will be coming from this particular notebook. Now a quick question can be, Ansh Lamba, yes, this will return an array. Yes, because see, this is the array. Will it return array in the array form, or it will return array in the string form? Like, do we need to convert it? So basically this will return return array in the array form. Okay, because this will pick the exact data format. If it is a list, array, tuple, anything as is. If it is an integer, as is. Okay, makes sense, because it only gives you textual form of list or array when you create a parameter, because parameter would be of the text format. That's why you get the data in the textual format, but not when you are parsing the values, right? So okay, so this is done. Now we need to add the ingestion notebook. I will simply say ingestion. Okay, and path will be this one. Now this is interesting. Now we need to create a parameter. Okay, it is saying when running a task inside a loop, you need to reference the input data for each iteration. I know, bro, I am about to tell this thing. So now within this parameter, I have a parameter called file name, and you already know that. But how we can just refer that value here? Interesting thing. So basically, if you have used loops, okay, so let's say you are doing something like this, for I in array. If you want to use dictionary's file name key, how you will use it? You will use it like this, I dot file name. Simple, right? That's how you do in the Python, right? So here as well, you will simply say, I want to use I dot file name, but instead of using I, you use it something called as input. That's the only difference. So you can simply click on this button and then input dot name of the key, because the key name is file name, right? Input dot file name. That's it. This is the way to do it. Now click on create task, and that's it. That's it. You can run this particular. Now first you need to optimize it. Perfect. Now You can click on run now. Let's see what happens. Let's validate the data as well. Okay. And we didn't add the concurrency here in this particular loop, so it will run it one by one. Make sense? Okay. So we know that this will give the array. Okay. This array will be passed on to this particular loop, which is the array. So this is done. Now this is running. So one scheduled, that means first iteration is running. That is like first file is being processed, and there I think total 3 files. So let's see. And what it is doing, dynamically reading and dynamically writing as well. Make sense? Okay, very good. Simple. Okay, let's see how long it takes. It should not take long because, oh yeah, first is done. Now you can see second is scheduled. So that means our code is working fine. Very well done. This was a complex one, but now you know how to do it. So that's a good thing. So once it is done, I will just show you basically add one tip, and this is basically recently added. So obviously I should just tell you this as well. Okay, not like recently added, like recently, but yeah, it was added like after this one. So I will just show you, don't worry. So just a hint, because this will be completed in just few seconds. Just a hint. Currently, in order to run this loop, we are using a notebook. Okay. And by the way, these are successful. Let's confirm it and we should see the data. If I see default, then volumes, then we have raw data, then we have sync, and we have all the 3 folders: orders, products, regions. Perfect. Everything is good. Now, I was saying that this array is coming from a notebook, but in some organizations, and with the course of time, they are adapting this. You would be having some tables, some mapping tables, instead of just notebook arrays, because notebook is not very ideal when you want to store a large mapping sheet, or you can say a large array, because you need to maintain it, you can update it, so you need a dedicated place to store it. So in those scenarios, notebooks are not ideal approach. You should be able to read the data like this from the table itself. That's where the concept of mapping table comes into the picture. Now let me just show you how you can perform the same thing, but with the help of mapping table, which is a recommended approach. Like this is also recommended, but that is like more professional. This is also professional, but like it depends upon the requirements. You need to feel my emotions, right? And I know you feel I know you feel me. I know. Okay, so now let's see how we can just do that. Steps are very much simple. We created array in the notebook. Now we need to create the same array but in the table. Simple. Okay, how we can just do that? Let me just show you. So I will go to the workspace. Okay, and not even like workspace, like you can just use almost like anything. Okay, you can also use this notebook called array just to create the SQL table, but that is fine. I will create a SQL file. Okay, query as well. I can create a query as well. Okay, and I can name it as mapping table. Perfect. So now I will create a table. Create table, and table name will be db jobs dot default dot, let's say, mapping. Okay, and there will be just one column, file name. That's it. Okay, and type is string. Perfect. Insert into. Perfect. Values, let me just provide. Perfect. Orders, customers, products, not customers, regions. Perfect. So these are the values. Let's create that. So I want to use this table now. So this is a kind of array that I have created in my table. Okay, so now what I need to do, it's very simple. So let me just wait till it is created. Okay, what is this? What is this? Operation attempt to use Hive Metastore, which is enabled due to one legacy access being turned off. Who is using Hive Metastore, bro? Who? If you need to access Hive Metastore, please ask your admin to Hive Metastore Federation through. What are you saying, bro? Please double check the default catalog in current stress. Oh, I see. Because see, this is a SQL query. I like using SQL files, but it is what it is. So I can simply pick SQL, select catalog from here, which is DB jobs, and then you can say default, and then you can just remove all these things, because in the queries we need to set the reference from this particular thing, which is this one. See, now if I run this, it should run fine. But queries are very good in some areas. Queries are good for select statements, for DQL, data query language, but DDL, DML, I love SQL files, and for data flow jobs as well, SQL files. But I just wanted to show you through SQL queries as well. So this is done. Okay. Now I will replace this code with the simple query which says select asterisk from mapping. Perfect. So what it will do, it will give me this thing, this table. That's it. Now I will be using this as my input to the array instead of using input from the notebook, because notebook is very hard to maintain. Notebook is not hard to maintain, the data within notebook is hard to maintain, because we cannot perform DML very much and it's not very handy for larger tables. Let's say you have thousands of files, so obviously. So what I can do, I will simply click on this job, click on tasks. Okay, now just delete this task, and is saying does not exist. Yeah, I know that. I want to delete this. Invalid reference. Yeah, because first we need to remove the reference, only then it will allow us to remove it. But before deleting it, we can create a new task, not a big deal. And this time we will pick SQL query. Okay, and I will say SQL array. Perfect. Query is mapping table because we renamed it, and just make sure you need to rename your SQL query, otherwise it will be very hard to find. Then SQL warehouse, this one. Perfect. And depends on it, just remove this because it should be at the first. Okay, perfect. Click on create task. So this task is created. Now you need to change the reference of this loop. You will say depends on SQL array. Depends on SQL array, and I will just set the concurrency to 5 so that all the things 4 so that all the things will be running together. Okay, save tasks. Okay, I need to change this as well. Very good. So let me just show you first of all. So now this array will be coming from SQL query, and you know that we use output dot rows if we want to use the values of the SQL query. So I'll simply rename it. Just go here and output dot rows. Simple. Make sense? Very good. So here my Databricks Lakeflow job is ready. Now I can delete this one. Perfect. Now this is my pipeline, and let's click on run now, and let's see if we are able to. Oh wow, we have this error. What is this error? Query text cannot be empty, bad request. What? Oh, because we didn't save the query. Let me just click on save the queries. Go to queries, and you will see this mapping table, and we need to save it, otherwise it will say, hey, what are you doing? And by the way, thank God it actually didn't run, because in just to validate it, I want to make a small change. And what is that change? If you see my workspace and then files, so if I just want to confirm if my SQL query is running fine, I just need to add a new folder called sync SQL so that I can see that difference, right? Perfect. Now we are good. Now we can simply run that. Now we can simply run that. I will go to jobs and pipelines, new job, click on run now. Click on view run. Now it is running fine. Perfect. Okay, this is already completed. Very good. And you can see 3 scheduled together. Why? Because of the concurrency. Makes sense? Because we set the concurrency to 4. Okay. And we just have like 3 files. So all are running together. And it should run fine. Should it run fine? Yes. Yes. And I will just show you what is happening right now. So this is returning the same array that was being returned by the notebook array. Simple. Within the array, we have dictionary. Okay. And within the dictionary, we have keys. So we are using keys here to read the data and write the data. Simple. And that's it. Nothing special. And this is succeeded. Let's verify if it has completed the data. So if I go to catalog, then db jobs, then default, then volume, then within the raw volume we have sync SQL. Oh, we have 3 folders. Perfect. So everything is fine. Congrats, you learned all the things. Perfect. So now you know how to build Databricks Lakeflow jobs, but there are some more things that you need to know. Okay, what are those things? First of all, you need to know about alerts. It is very convenient that you will be just building here alerts. Just click on this alerts button. If it is not visible, just click on plus new button, you will find it. Okay, so far I do not have any kind of alerts. But what are alerts? Alerts can be your, you can say, positive and negative both. Alerts for failures, alerts for success, alerts for maybe target sales achieved, target orders, anything. So let's say you have orders table, right? Let's say you want to send a notification if your organization has surpassed the total revenue of, let's say, $1 million. Let's say. So you can create those alerts. Okay, how? Click on alerts and then click on create alert. Do not pick legacy alert because we are using the modern alerts. These will be deprecated very soon. Okay, simply click on create alert. And then this is the user interface. So what is this alert? In the alert section, we can simply write query, something like this. Let's say select asterisk from db jobs dot default dot orders. Okay, and I can run it just to see the preview. So it is returning this one. Perfect. So I have this particular result, right? And I have total amount as well. So now in the total amount, I can just send myself an alert, or basically you can set the alert for your manager. Let's say if total amount is surpassed, or basically total amount has value of, just for this example, total amount's value is greater than, let's say, 300. If it is greater than 300, you need to receive the notification, otherwise no. Okay, how you can just do that? So now you need to tweak your query. You will simply say select sum of total amount, give a good alias as, let's say, total revenue, right, from db jobs dot default dot you can say orders. Perfect. So now you will just be receiving a value, single value, and this will be your variable, which is called total revenue. Now just come on this side, left side, you will say condition. What is the condition of the trigger, or basically alert? So condition will be first row, not first row. Basically you can say select column, then total revenue. If total revenue, okay, total revenue equals to, or basically greater than equals to, let's say greater than equals to. If it is greater than 300, there are basically multiple options: static value, min, max, blah blah blah. You can say 300. If it is true, then you need to send the notification to yourself, and here you need to pick the email address that is aligned with your account. In your scenario, if I click on this, I will see my email. In your case, you will not see this, because in order to see this, you need to go to settings, okay, and you need to go to developer, and not developer, I guess, notifications. Then you need to this notification or this notification, I think, yeah, this notifications. Yeah, here you need to add a destination. Click on manage and then simply add a destination. Once you do that, then you will see this. Okay, then you can also schedule this. Let's say you want to run this query every week, every day, every month, because you just want to keep your KPIs updated, and you need to be you need to be alerted immediately. You can click on create. That's it. That's how you create alerts in Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. Make sense? Make sense? Very good. Obviously, I do not want to create it, so I will not be creating it. So now this is done. Now I want to show you something very special and something that we haven't talked about much, which is important, very important, but it is not a very big deal. It is a big deal, but not a very big deal. So what's that? First of all, you created this job. Let's say this one. Let me first of all rename it. Edit job. So let's say job main. Okay, or let's say job data ingestion. Very good. Currently, we are manually triggering this. Once this job is ready, will you trigger it manually every day? No. You need to schedule this job. Make sense? In order to schedule this job, there are some methods that you need to follow. Okay, just click on these three dots. Okay, and then just click again so that it will be collapsed. Just click on this button and just scroll down. You will see schedule and triggers. Once your job is ready, you can schedule this by clicking on add trigger. Okay, so trigger type is scheduled. File arrival, continuous is in the preview mode, I guess, or maybe continuous job ensures that there is always one active run. A new run is created as soon as the previous one finished, or when there are none. So basically, if you are familiar with Spark structured streaming's continuous mode, this is like almost the same. So it will be saying that, hey, if the previous instance is completed, just run the next one, which will be very rare for now. In future, it will be very common, but for now, it is like very rare. These two are the most popular ones: scheduled and file arrival. Let's talk about scheduled. Let's say you want to run this job every day at 9 a.m. Just click on this scheduled and you can schedule it. I can just show you scheduled. Let's say simple. I want to run it every day. I can pick advanced just to set the time as well. Every day at, let's say, 9:30 a.m. Let's say this one. Perfect. Okay, and you can also see the cron syntax if you are very cron lover. Okay, then you can simply say save. Okay, I don't want to save it because it will be just consuming unnecessary resources that I do not want it to consume, but this is the way to do it. Click on cancel. Now if I pick the other one, file arrival, if you are familiar with Azure Data Factory, this is exactly same as something called as storage events. So what it will do, let's say in your data lake, any file is arrived at any folder that you will be configuring, you can trigger your pipeline, basically this job, on the basis of that arrival. Oh, okay, on the basis of that arrival. Okay, but obviously you need to create your data lake. For that you need to have some setup, you need to have some permissions as well, so that it can just read the data. It is not very simple, but it is not very complex, and you can easily just do it by just going on the documentation page. I can just show you, because in the free edition it is not possible, because you do not have any kind of data lake linked to your free edition. But you should know about it, that's why I'm telling you this. Make sense? Very good. So this is all about scheduling. Okay, now I want to show you something. What is that? Remember, we just talked about we can also configure so many things. If I click on add task, this is like very common thing, but I want to show you. You have literally almost so many options. Let's say notebook, we covered that. SQL query, SQL file, we covered that. Python script is very much similar to notebook, so it is also covered. SQL alert, I just showed you. So you can actually create the alert, and you can orchestrate it as well. That's so powerful. That's so powerful that you created the alert and you can schedule it within your pipeline. That's how you do that. See? Then let's talk about ETL pipeline. So if you haven't watched my Databricks declarative pipelines video, just go there, because that is a masterclass for Delta Live tables, aka declarative pipelines or ETL pipelines. Okay, you can even schedule your ETL pipelines in your job. Make sense? Okay, then we have so many other options as well, and we have covered all of these things. Obviously Python wheel and jar, no need to cover, and clean room is totally something different, which is not for you as a data engineer developer. It is for senior folks who make the decision. By the way, what is a clean room? Let me just tell you. Clean room is like, let's say there are two different organizations and they want to collaborate and they want to just share their data but securely. That's where clean room comes into the picture. They can securely develop a POC project, that is proof of concept, and they can securely share the resources, notebook, data, everything. This is not directly related for you, but I just gave you some hint, so it's fine. Okay, then dashboard. Obviously you can refresh your dashboard if you are organization, data analyst, develop some dashboards, you can refresh the data set. Good, very good. Now let's talk about some other things as well. If you see job parameters, what are these things? Job parameters, these are basically the parent level parameters that you provide. So let's say you want to create some parameters which can be used by either this activity or this activity, because so far we have given the parameters within the activity, but sometimes what we want to do, we do not want to configure the parameters within the notebook or basically within the activities. We define all the parameters at the parent pipeline level, and then we pass on the parameters in the subsequent activities. Again, that totally depends upon the design and requirements. It's not like you have to use. No, it's something like you can use if you want, like this. Okay, then let's talk about this compute. Okay, compute is very important. So far we are using serverless compute. And by the way, what is job compute? Job compute is something like which will be running your pipeline and it will be stopped automatically if you're using job compute. But obviously in case of serverless, it is fine. So just keep it serverless, and obviously do not have any other option available. But yeah, when you just create your cloud instance of Databricks, you have those options. Okay, then we have job notification. This is very important. Let's say this pipeline, this basically job failed, and you want to receive notification on the failure. How you can just do that? You can simply click on edit notification and simply say add notification, and simply pick the destination, which is this one, email address. You can type the email address, whatever email you want. Let's say Ansh Lamba bro Databricks, and then you can say alert blah blah blah. Let's say this is your organization's email. So this is your organization's email, and you can send this alert on success, on failure, on duration, anything. Why this is handy? This is handy if your pipeline is taking more than expected time, and you need to be alerted in those scenarios as well. Yes, makes sense. That's how you can just set notifications. Let me just tell you, these things are really messy in Azure Data Factory. Why? Because you need to set logic apps for that. Like, it's very easy to set up logic app, but still these things are so convenient and so easy in Databricks. See, then we have Git that we are not covering here, and that's it. Make sense? So I would say this is your complete guide for Databricks Lakeflow Jobs. And now I can say, after completing this video, now you can build any complex pipeline, trust me, or basically any Databricks job in Databricks with confidence. Trust me. Now you are all set. Now you're all good. Make sense? And see, in the beginning of the video, you were like, hey, what is E1 Databricks Lakeflow job? What is this? What is that? But now you are a pro Databricks Lakeflow developer. Yes, you need to practice this. It's not just like watching the video. It's like watching the video, doing the same thing on your own, doing the same thing on your own again. If there are any errors, failures, do that again. If everything is fine, revisit. So you need to complete this video again and again. Make sense? If you want to just master this, simple. And I hope you loved this video, and just drop a lovely comment if you loved this video. And there's a special video that is coming on your screen right now, and I will see you there.